Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Gaming Gig podcast, we're looking back at 2022 in gaming and looking forward to 2023.
All right, Daniel, new year, which means a whole new year of gaming coming up. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of stuff going up.
New year, new us.
But before we look ahead at what is in store in gaming for 2023, let's do a quick recap of what happened in 2022. What was gaming like in 2022?
Okay.
Yeah, kind of look at the current state of where things are at now, and then then we'll figure out where we're going to be going.
This awkward year that was 2022.
I think a lot of people did think it was an awkward year for gaming.
Well, I think it was, but I just kind of shooting from the hip here. I think it was just kind of awkward because of the chip shortages and this weirdness with the next gen consoles like not being available, and we were on tail end of coming out of a pandemic. It was an awkward year.
Yeah, definitely. So this year we had the next gen, systems were they're definitely out there. It's weird that we keep calling them next gen. It's current gen. They've been out for what? They came out over 2 years ago now. So
that's insane.
Yeah, so it's weird that we even say like a lot of people, and we just did it.
Yeah,
say like the Xbox Series X and the PS5. We say next gen systems, but really, it's the reason we do that is because they're just not available.
Mm-hmm. Well, The Witcher, just got a next gen update.
Right. Well, lots of games have got.
They put that in writing.
Right. Even though it's the current gen,
Right.
But it's so strange. It is very, very strange. I guess it's like the next generation from when it was made. I guess that makes more sense, but
yeah,
still,
I might be giving them a little too much credit there.
Do you have any feelings on which of the consoles or systems seem to be the most popular this year?
Well, I'm weirded out by it because we're fortunate enough to have all three.
Well, you got to say, I'm thinking like PC also, including Steam
all
Deck and all the platforms for gaming.
Okay, well, PC
mobile, everything.
PC was a little weird too because PC parts are through the roof, or at least they were through the roof.
They were, yeah.
And now you got those 40 series GPUs coming out that are you got to take out a second mortgage to pay for. So I think PC gamers might be feeling a little shafted as well. But the Steam Deck is amazing. You did mention Steam Deck, and I just got one of those recently, and I freaking love it. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely not the most popular.
No, not at all.
It's a niche kind of thing for sure. Switch is still huge, despite the long teeth that it continues to grow.
Yeah, Switch is definitely aging, and it's showing it. But still, we had a couple months there where the PS5 and Xbox were kind of outselling Switch. Mm-hmm. But these most recent numbers are the Christmas thing, Switch was back on top.
Yeah.
So, and that may be because Switch is way more available, but it also, Switch, Nintendo had a really great year for games. I'd say that Nintendo put out the most consistent, first party, exclusives this year out of all the major people.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm not saying their games were the best.
Well, besides
games.
Xbox.
Yeah,
besides Xbox. Sorry. I forgot. It's opposite day. My bad.
But the Switch put out, I don't think they were the best games, but they put out the most first party games. And I think that really helped the Switch this year.
And I think that might be kind of par for the course for Nintendo. They're always cranking out some sort of new Yoshi stuff or something. Kirby.
But we got some really great games for Nintendo. We got Kirby in the Forgotten Land, and we got the new Bayonetta game, and just a couple that were really good games this year.
New Advance. Oh, sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
What is going on with Advance Wars, by the way? I was watching somebody on YouTube the other day. It's a sidebar, sorry, but and somebody just mentioned Advance Wars Remaster, and I was like, I completely forgot about that.
That was supposed to come out last year,
and they were like, because they mentioned it in the same breath as some projects are scrapped, and some projects they're going to come out and they never do, like Advance Wars, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot about that game.
Yeah,
is that ever going to come out?
Well, so from what I understand, it was delayed because of the Ukraine war thing.
Yeah.
And apparently it has some, I thought it was just because it was kind of like a war game, but no, apparently it has some references that are very directly tied to that, that maybe would be a little too close to home for a lot of
To Ukraine specifically?
Well, I think maybe it has more to do with Russia.
I think there is some Russian innuendo in there.
Right.
Yeah. I seem to remember that from the Game Boy days.
So I think that until I mean, I don't know. I kind of think that one is just on the back burner until further notice. From what I understand, it was like, we were like a week from it coming out. And
it was like
yeah,
done.
yeah.
It was ready,
It's done and ready. It's just not
Yeah.
out. But anyways, so, in terms of the main consoles, I still think that the PlayStation is more popular than
Definitely.
the Xbox, it seems. Even my brother, who is like a diehard Xbox fan, been playing Xbox systems his entire life, never owned a PlayStation. I was talking to him the other day because I got him GameFly for Christmas, and he was kind of bummed that he couldn't play a lot of these PlayStation games because there's so many great looking PlayStation exclusives that he wanted to rent that he just can't play because he doesn't have one. So
Yeah. Well, I think when he bought his Xbox, you might have told him to go PlayStation, didn't you?
I tried,
Yeah.
but it didn't work. Oh well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, not that Xbox doesn't have its merits. I've got one. I love it, but
Yeah. And, they're supposed to actually put out some games this year. So,
yeah, it might be a good year for Xbox.
yeah. And
So,
we'll talk about that later.
We didn't get any new gaming hardware this year. I mean, nothing major. We got like the cloud gaming device. I'm trying to think of like,
Well, when did Steam Deck? It's not over a year old, is it?
yeah, definitely.
It's been shipping for over a year?
I don't know. I feel like it. Maybe
There probably was like some Q1 2022 ships.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Steam Deck did come out this year. I don't know because I'm so weirded out about Steam Deck. Oh, it came out
Yeah,
February.
it came out in February. So it came out this year, and
Never
that's
mind.
that's huge for me.
Okay, see, I was thinking that the Steam Deck came out at the tail end of last year.
Yeah, no,
But
I think it was just getting hyped.
Oh, okay.
Tail end of last
I'm
year.
just mixing my things up.
We've been riding the hype train
So
on that for a hot minute.
we did get a major piece of hardware.
Yes, for
That's
a small group of people,
I mean, I would
but
consider
it's cool.
I wouldn't consider that to be a major piece of hardware, but I also kind of would. It's a pretty big piece of hardware. It's
Yeah.
pretty important.
I think when we're old and feeble,
We'll look back at it and say,
and we
yeah,
look back on the history of specifically handheld gaming, I think the Steam Deck
right.
is a high water mark.
Yeah.
I got a book, by the way, coming in the mail that's all about like the history of handheld gaming. It's like a coffee table
Oh,
book.
that's so for you.
It's
Yeah.
going to be sick.
Yeah, that's great. So, what about any gaming trends that we saw this year? Did you notice anything that was like specific to this year?
I think with just a continued trend of microtransactions out the butt.
Yeah, I mean, it that's been going on, but it definitely like felt reinforced this year.
It did, especially since we got back into some of those games.
Right. We had things like, well-established franchises going the free-to-play microtransaction route, like Diablo, the new Overwatch, things like that.
Did Overwatch 2 do that as well? It went
free-to-play, yeah.
I didn't even know that. I mean, it may have always been.
Halo,
I've never played Overwatch.
Halo.
Halo.
Like we have those types of things happening where established franchises are moving to the free-to-play microtransaction formula.
You could almost even lump Mario Kart in with that at this point.
Seriously, though.
I mean, there's not microtransactions, but
and
there would be if there could be.
But I think we've predicted this before. I think that the next Mario Kart is going to be free-to-play.
Live service.
Live service, free-to-play. I think it's going to be.
It might be.
And it'll be called Mario Kart Infinity. Mario Kart Forever.
Infinity War.
Mario Kart Forever. And it'll be the Mario Kart that lasts forever.
Mario Kart Ultimate.
One thing
I wonder if the new Smash, whenever it eventually comes out, will be live service.
I think so too. I think that those games are well suited for it, so I don't see why they wouldn't. But then again, yeah,
as long as they do it right.
As long as they do it right, yeah, and it can be done right. Another thing I noticed this year a lot is we had a lot more, and maybe you can chalk this up to the pandemic, but we had a lot of games releasing in a pretty poor, unfinished state. That like finish it later mentality was like huge this year.
Oh yeah, it was rampant. I don't know that it just started this year though. I mean, and I don't really want to let them fall back on the pandemic excuse. I mean, I'm sure it did play some parts in it, but I mean, this may be jumping ahead, but we got God of War Ragnarok this year, and it was freaking finished.
Yeah, I think that was like the only game that I played. Well, I shouldn't say the only game. Like I think Kirby and the Forgotten Land was finished. It felt great at launch, but a lot of the Nintendo games weren't. I mean, like Mario.
Elden Ring, I think it was finished at launch. My PC version was buggy, but I think the console versions were good.
That's from what I understand too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we had games like the Saints Row game that I played about half of it and then stopped playing it, and it wasn't like it was completely unfinished, but it needed more time in the oven.
Yeah,
I mean, I think there was a lot of games.
Gotham Knights looks like it was a hot steaming piece of crap.
See, I played Gotham. I jumping ahead
Yeah.
here to. I was going to talk about this later in the podcast, but it doesn't really matter. I abandoned playing Gotham Knights this week because I just didn't want to play. It didn't, honestly, I didn't have any bugs. It looked good to me. The gameplay was okay. I just didn't really have any interest in continuing it. So
I watched the girlfriend reviews on Gotham Knights, and I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, but they played that at launch.
Did they?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that some of those things have been worked out. I don't want to, make excuses for Gotham Knights because I don't care about it.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I'm just saying, my experience was that it wasn't buggy and that it looked pretty good and seemed fine. But it wasn't good enough for me to want to keep playing it.
Did we mention this I think it's kind of an indie game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Speaking of unfinished games.
Right. That's a huge one. I mean, like, and the thing about that is, like, I wrote my review on it and I haven't posted it yet, but basically I was like, the game looks awful and it's so buggy but it's a really great game, and it's like such a shame that we didn't get a real like quality. If they had just spent another year working on it, I think that it would hands down like probably be like everyone would love it. I just don't that's a really soft spot, or a sore spot for me, I should say, not a soft spot.
Well, at least they gave you like the Explorer mode where you get to move the camera behind all the stuff and see the assets. And like, I thought that was a cool addition.
I don't think that was on purpose, but it was that is something. The camera was so janky. It was like everything. It was just, that game is just janky.
Well, Wolf Den and Beat 'em Ups, they do their podcast. They talked a lot about that camera, and I think they kind of summed it up as like the camera just has no collision detection.
None.
So you can just you can go behind anything you want. You can go under anything you want.
And oftentimes it just, like, the default settings for where the camera wants to be is behind, assets. And you can see right through them, or you can see down through the entire world. It's just like, it's insane. That being said, it's a good Pokemon game. So much fun. But, I mean, it just looks terrible.
Yeah, I would like to play it, but
it looks terrible.
I don't anticipate playing it.
Yeah. So, we mentioned this. You mentioned this earlier at the beginning. You said we had the post-pandemic stuff. We had a lot of delays out of this year. Like, a lot of games got pushed to next year. And we still had chip shortage problems. But it seems like the chip shortage thing is sort of working itself out.
I hope so.
Like, for example, I was on GameStop's website the other day, and they had PS5s in stock. And it wasn't like they were sold out. They had them. They were like, we have PlayStations, order them. So it's crazy. And
that's awesome.
Gamefly has been sending out stuff how they have Xboxes in stock. I mean, like, there are current systems in stock now. So we're starting. I think we're at the end of it. I really do.
I hope so, because I mean that chip shortage, we definitely saw it. I mean,
and that was post Christmas.
I think the chip shortage might have created the Switch OLED, but that's just it's just a theory.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I think that's absolutely what happened. And that the reports came out this week that that the Switch Pro was a thing, and it got changed to the Switch OLED because the chips were shortage, and now they've completely scrapped the Switch Pro, and now they're just going to wait till Switch 2. Like, we're not going to get a new Switch revision at all. We're not going to get a mid-gen refresh. We're just going to get...
Yeah, but it's also been out... So, I mean, I know there was also that quote saying, like, the Switch is only half, in the middle of its life cycle. But
I feel like I've been hearing that the entire time the Switch has been around. So.
Yeah, and it's been out. When did it come out? 2017.
Beginning of March of 2017.
So like it's time. Like I know they said like you're not going to get a mid-cycle refresh, and they're just going to look to the next gen. But like
the Switch OLED was kind of a mid-gen refresh.
It was. I mean, that screen was big for me.
It's just a screen though, and can that really count as a refresh? I don't know.
Refresh adjacent, maybe.
Yeah.
But what I was saying is, I don't know. I'm not too upset that they're just saying, like, okay, we're just going to put all our cards in the next basket.
No, I don't either. As long as it's backwards compatible.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, I'm going to buy it anyway.
Yeah, let's be real
Let's be real.
And I'm not going to trade in my OLED.
No.
I've decided I'm keeping my OLED.
Oh, I'm definitely keeping my OLED.
Because I know we traded in our OG Switches to get OLEDs.
We did.
And that was a good call. I mean, really.
Well, GameStop was offering just such a great deal.
I know.
It was just like insane not to take it. You could like basically get a Switch OLED for like less than $100.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well. But anyways, also this year, something that I noticed just gradually throughout the year is that there has been a big shift in the gaming industry's mentality towards crunch culture.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed people's abs are getting quite defined.
Yeah, everyone's just doing all these sit-ups.
Jake Baldino the other day. Anyway. So.
Oh, yeah, he's ripped now.
He's ripped.
Oh, Jake. Just keep on doing it, man. We love it.
Jake Baldino.
Oh, yeah.
It's my boy.
But you know what I mean? Like, it seems like companies are more willing to delay a game. And I say this in the same breath that I was saying, like, games are coming out unfinished. So it's not everybody. But maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's also has to do with crunch culture. They would rather put a game out unfinished instead of making people crunch, or they would rather delay a game instead of, like, it seems like the crunch culture thing has been really demonized and people, like, hate it.
So crunch culture, like, I know what it is, but just for the people at home who aren't exactly sure what the definition of crunch culture is, would you mind defining it for them?
Sure. So, in the gaming industry, there is a big thing with developers of games in that they expect their employees to work like crazy hours to finish a game by a deadline. So, they'll have people like, staying there all day and night to work on games, and they have like, really bad working conditions, and they just expect their employees to drop everything and spend their entire lives working on this game in the lead up to its launch. And it's caused a lot of go watch the documentary about the 2018 God of War game.
Oh yeah, so I haven't watched that.
I've only watched parts of it.
Yeah,
but
you talking about the Raising Kratos thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it goes beyond that. I mean, a lot of companies are really known for having really implementing this crunch, and it seems like people are starting to push away from it. We have people like Nintendo saying that they'll delay games as long as they need to, as long as the workers are able to do it without crunching and stuff like that. So,
well, that's what they thought you probably meant, but I'm glad you clarified that for them. But
I know you were worried that they were thinking that we were talking about doing exercises.
Yes, well, this is a gaming podcast, right? So
we all do. We all exercise a lot, all us gamers.
Definitely. But yeah, no, I agree. There's there's like a societal shift.
Oh yeah,
and it's not just gaming. Like, have you heard the term quiet quitting?
Oh yeah,
are you familiar with this?
Yes.
So I think that just goes hand in hand. And being a teacher, like, I certainly see some sides to that. How you just can't you can't sacrifice your own personal well-being for your job.
Right.
I do believe that.
Agreed.
That being said, get me my freaking games.
Get them to me. So let's talk about us this year in gaming, our experiences.
I like to talk about us.
Any big moments for you this year? Any standout things that happened?
Yeah, so I did put a few things here for big moments, and for me, it was I finally bought a gaming PC. I'm a PC gamer now. I bought the PC. I looked it up. I bought it in January of last year.
Yep.
So I've had it for almost a year at this point. And then very recently, of course, not to beat a dead horse, a beautiful portable powerhouse of a horse. But I bought a Steam Deck as well, which goes right hand in hand with the PC gaming. So now I've got the at-home battle station and the on-the-go beautiful portable beauty. But that's been, different for me because I've never gamed on a PC. I've never played anything mouse and keyboard until this year, so that was cool to learn. And then in addition to that, it enabled us to start streaming. And so that was like a whole new skill set.
I think we started streaming a little bit before the beginning of the year, but
we did because we bought it, but because we did start streaming before I got my PC.
Yeah,
but it made things a lot easier.
Yeah, we kind of refined. We were learning.
Yes,
this year was a lot of learning how to stream.
It was a big learning process, and that was a lot of fun. We made some cool friends through that. We're continuing to grow our Discord. That was huge for me. That was fun.
Yeah, I figured you'd have some big moments to talk about. Honestly, this year in terms of big moments, I can't really think of any. There were normally that would be new console stuff. Nothing really crazy happened for me in terms of that. I played a lot of games. I think I played close to 100 games this year. So that was probably my big thing is I got to play a lot, and that was great. But and speaking of, there were some. I think my big moments were the games I played.
Yeah.
What the big games I played in terms of new games that came out this year. God of War Ragnarok. I know that one's a shared thing between me and you.
Yeah.
And then I really loved The Last of Us Part 1. I loved going back and revisiting that game. And that's one of my favorite games of all time. So it was good to go back and revisit it. In terms of new games, that was,
the two big ones.
The big ones. There were some other games I really enjoyed, but those are the two really big ones for me.
Yeah. I think there could be some honorable mentions there, but.
What about, definitely. But, in to save us time, Those are the two big ones in terms of new games that came out. What about new games for you that came out?
Okay, new games for me. Also, of course, God of War Ragnarok. Cult of the Lamb was my favorite indie game of the year. That game was amazing. Vampire Survivors, I just can't not mention it. It's just so good. If you haven't played Vampire Survivors, what are you doing with your life?
Another indie.
Yes. And Lava Love, which I wasn't sure if it should go in the new games or the old games, because it's an old game that never got released in the United States until the remaster, but
Yeah.
that thing was awesome.
Yeah,
I loved Lava Love.
I really liked that game too. That was a fun, cool experience for me this year.
Yes.
I also got to play some really great VR games this year. Specifically, Half-Life Alyx, which is like the VR game. It's that one will change your opinion on if you're like on how good VR gaming can be, and like the best of it right now is still that's the shining example. And I also played Resident Evil 4 in VR, which was just a lot of fun. I love that game, so I just wanted to mention that one as well.
Yeah. I didn't put a VR category because VR kind of makes me vomit. But I did play those Vader Immortal games, and I loved them. But climbing the ladder did almost make me puke. So I didn't put a VR category, but that's just a personal thing for me.
And old games, like always I'm playing games from my backlog, and just two that I wanted to mention was Nier Automata. I loved that game so much, and so that one really stuck with me. And then also Rayman Legends was just such like a that's a game I played with Catherine, but that was by far one of my favorite games I played this year, and it's become now I think my favorite platformer of all time. So that was just like awesome to play that game this year, and that's an older game though.
Yeah,
both of those are older games.
Yeah, old games for me. I also put Nier Automata. I just recently saw credits on that game, but there's more to it.
Yeah,
so I'm not done with it, but I finished it, but I'm not done with it. Cuphead, finally buckled down and did Cuphead this year.
That's that one you've been needing to do for a long time.
Yeah, that was a big accomplishment for me. Had a great time with that. And I put Fortnite because we got heavy back into Fortnite this year. Yeah. And holy crap, I love that game.
Yeah, we went to Fortnite out of like, honestly, it was because, we've been streaming Sea of Thieves forever. And I just got burnt out on Sea of Thieves. And like, I was, and Daniel was like, man, we should probably find something to do because I can tell you're burnt out playing Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I started to like feel bad asking Randy to play Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, I was just like, and the thing is, I love Sea of Thieves again. I'm back in, and taking time away from it was the best thing I could have done.
Yeah.
And
you're more back into it than I am.
Yeah. But in the game, then I was like, well, you know what? Let's stream some Fortnite because I wanted to, revisit it because
and they have the zero build.
They have zero build now, and
which
also,
is good for us old people.
We used to really love playing it, so I thought like we could try it again. And yeah, we got really into it, and it is a great game to come back to. So it
is great.
That's been a big part of this year for sure.
Don't let the cringe of Fortnite keep you away, Jamie.
Because it is cringy. It is super cringy.
It is cringe, but it is so fun.
Yeah. So did you have any hardware this year that you feel like got the most use?
I mean, honestly, the hardware that I own that got the most use is probably still my Switch. For this year, it's probably my Switch. But moving forward, I don't think it will be.
I'm going to look because I want to see because I have on my game track, it tells me which, because I put on there where I played it, and it'll tell me my...
I haven't kept. I need to go back and retroactively update my game track.
It will tell me what my top platforms. So, no, I want to do the year. Okay, hold on. 2022. It's swapped over because it's a new year.
It's good content.
Yeah, it is. Okay, my top platforms were... I had a tie between... really now. Okay, I had a tie between my Switch and my PS4 or PlayStation, it looks like. Let me check and see, though. I don't know. It doesn't put PS5 on here, which is weird. So I don't think this is quite right.
Yeah.
But I can tell you the updated total. I played this year, I finished 71 games, and I abandoned 15, and that doesn't count any things we streamed. So that would be 86 plus 2, around 88 games. That's how many games I played this year.
That's awesome.
Around that many games.
That is awesome. That is quite a total.
But I think I probably played the most games on either PlayStation or Switch, probably around that.
Yeah, moving forward, I'm going to get as many things that are compatible on my Steam Deck as possible.
Yeah, I noticed when we get to the end of the podcast and we go over what games we've been playing this week, this is the first time that your list has equaled my list in, I don't know, ever.
Yeah.
So, and it's all because you've been playing that Steam Deck. So that just is a great proof. But let's talk about what, find out the Gaming Gig viewers. We put out a poll saying, how many different video games did you play this year? And we can kind of get an idea of what other people's, how many games they played this year.
And I love these thumbnails that you put on this poll of all these Game Boy Advance games.
Oh, yeah, I know. They're Japanese Game Boy Advance games, too.
That is awesome. So, let's see. At 34%, people said they played just a few games this year. At 36%, they played a medium amount. At 17%, they played many games. Not many games, many games. And at 14% was very many.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like the most popular one was a medium amount, which we would expect. But and we had I was surprised at how many people played just a few games. I mean,
it's because they're playing Call of Duty, Fortnite, Apex Legends.
And it's those couple games. Yeah. Well, those types of games can just take your entire life.
I know
there's so much content in them that it makes sense. But I mean, we had a fair amount of people who said they played a lot or very many games, so that's cool.
Those people also spent like 2 weeks playing Halo.
Yeah.
So,
and I think some of the comments here shed some more light on, why people answered the way they did. Because we have Guerrilla Tactics here who said, played many, completed a medium amount relative to what I played, around 20 completed. So, you don't always have to finish games. And,
no, you don't.
I love to finish games. It's like a thing I like to do.
It's such a good feeling.
It's a great feeling. And I chase that dopamine rush of watching the credits roll. It happened yesterday. I rolled credits on Super Mario Land for the Game Boy yesterday. It's a great feeling. I was hyped. Yeah. Hit with his next comment, Daniel.
All right. So, Abel's, A_Bells, said, a couple. Some new games I played are the new COD, God of War Ragnarok, and while this next one isn't new, but it's one I've never played before, Batman Arkham Knight. That's a good one.
I really want to play the Arkham series. Yeah. I've never played any of them.
Oh, wait. Arkham Knight. Is that the first or the last one?
I think that Arkham Knight is the first. Am I wrong about that?
I think it might be the last one. I played the first two.
I don't see. The thing is, I've never played those games, so I don't know. Let me look it up.
I'll look it up. I got the.
Okay. But I've heard they seem great. So.
Okay, I played Arkham Asylum and Arkham City.
Is Knight the most
Arkham
recent?
Knight is the last one of the mainline ones.
Oh gosh, there's so many.
Yeah.
I played Arkham VR. Does that count?
Yeah, it's on there.
Is it on there?
It's actually new. It's the newest one, technically.
Yeah, that was actually really cool. Arkham VR was awesome, and it only lasts 1 hour. That's the real big bummer.
I think I'm going to check out this Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, by the way. It looks fun.
It does look okay. I'm interested. I'm tentatively interested in that one as well.
I'm prepared to be hurt, but I do kind of want to check it out.
Yeah. So next in our comments, we got, I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm going to call you Sosu.
Sosu.
Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt. Said, finished just a few, bought many. The emulation machines I bought this year. Yes.
I feel that.
Buying some emulators.
Yeah. I would be curious to see what emulators you bought, Sosu.
Daniel's all into that stuff.
Yeah, that stuff is fun. And it's like a constantly, literally constantly changing market. Because those Chinese companies, they put out an emulator. Then like a month later, they put out another emulator with the same chip, but something slightly different that makes it just barely better. And then every single one of those companies are doing the same thing. It's just a crazy saturated market.
I think they're cool. I don't think I would use them that much.
It's a lot to weed through.
I don't think I would actually play them. I think they're cooler as I like the idea behind them more than I think I would actually like to use them. That's why I don't get into them.
Yeah. All right. Keith Cool said, with Game Pass, I played a lot of games, even games I would not buy, but there are many great games on that platform. With my PS5, I can say maybe 5 games. Well, I hope they were good games.
But I mean, that's a really interesting point in that we have this mindset of things like Game Pass. Is that going to be the future, or will we still have exclusives that are just like the way PlayStation's doing? We really have these competing philosophies in how these consoles and the developers behind these consoles are, creating games and how they're promoting games, and it's very interesting.
It is.
So we have Alessandro says, too much. I played 2 to 5 every month, I think. So that's, I mean, I wouldn't say that's too much to me. That'd be
Well,
like,
of course you wouldn't say that's too much because then you'd be outing yourself, Randy.
that's not, no, I don't, I think that's a good amount. It's a decent amount.
2 to 5 games every month is
Yeah, that's nice.
that's a lot of games.
That's a lot of games. It's,
You know,
I got you beat though.
That's 24 to 60 games.
Yeah.
It's a lot of games.
No.
Anyway, Nightmare said, according to my PlayStation wrap up, 94.
See, you got me beat there.
Wow.
94. I was close, but I didn't get into 94. I thought I would be closer. But no, 94.
We got some comments in here from Jeeves.
Yeah.
He said, or they said, I don't know. According to my PlayStation wrap up, I got 55. Most played being Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut.
Yeah, and then Nightmare comes back and said, my most play would be Horizon Forbidden West at 82 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I know Horizon Forbidden West has a lot of content. I just play with the main storyline. You'd have to be, I mean, assuming at 82 hours, you must have been like, completed it, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I don't know.
A lot of side, I know there is a lot of side questing and stuff that I didn't do. That's a big game. So, yeah, that's interesting.
That is.
So now that we've looked back at 2022, spent a lot of time, let's spend some time looking ahead at 2023.
Okay.
In terms of new things that are coming up, the only gaming console release that we know of is the PSVR 2, and that's not even really a console. It's a peripheral that goes along with the PS5, but it's still like new tech that's coming out.
Right.
And I'm getting that. I already pre-ordered it. It's coming out in February.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of the chosen few.
Yeah. But what about anything else? Do you expect to see anything from PlayStation? New console revision? A PS5 Slim?
I mean, there's a lot of rumors, about a PS5 Slim.
I think they say that this will be digital only, but will have a optional disc drive that you can attach.
I think that's a really
I think that makes
neat
sense.
solution.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I thought about that myself.
I think that's a really good one. Because then they can have just one console that they sell,
Yes.
and it appeals to everybody. And
Yeah.
if you want to pay the extra for the disc drive, you can. If you don't, you don't.
I think that's a good idea.
I do too.
So I don't know. I don't know if that'll come out this year. We're 2 years in? And,
No. Yeah,
I mean, it could happen. But tech companies have had some hardships as of late. So I don't know. Maybe. New Switch, I don't think we'll see this year.
You don't think? I also don't think. I thought if we were going to see one, we were going to see it come along, Tears of the Kingdom. And now that we've had the leak showing that the Tears of the Kingdom system is just a Switch OLED with a nice little Switch OLED thing.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think we're seeing it this year. I don't think we're going to see anything from Nintendo this year on new consoles. If I had to guess,
That does kind of break their pattern. They've been going like an every 2 year, some sort of addition to the Switch.
what if we get a Switch Lite OLED?
I was about to say a Switch Lite OLED could happen.
That could be the thing, right? That would be awesome too.
That would be a great little system.
Yeah, that would be
Honestly, that would be a great little
I wouldn't
system.
buy one, but
No, I wouldn't either.
I think that would be cool. I think that people would like it.
Unless they want my current Switch Lite for a great deal.
What about Xbox? Do you expect to see anything from Xbox?
Not really.
I expected to see. I don't expect to see anything from Xbox. I think that
Maybe the
because
streaming stick? I don't know. We get the streaming stick?
I thought I heard that got canceled.
Did it?
Yeah.
Well,
I think because if anything, I think we will see a. Call me crazy, but I could see the Series S being discontinued and a new digital version of the Series X taking its place.
okay, crazy.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. I don't think it's actually going to happen, but why not?
The Series S, it seems like people as of late have been have been highlighting how it's a little underpowered. And,
Well, I mean, we kept getting these things about how developers were saying that it was holding back the industry.
yeah.
So I think that's why.
I've always thought it was a really neat little system. But, I don't know.
Not enough to buy one.
No, because I got a Series X.
Right. Yeah.
But, we have friends who got a Series S, and I thought it was a great solution.
Well, it's cheaper. It's available. I mean, yeah.
It's little. It goes anywhere. It's
Yeah.
so cute.
It's so cute.
I mean, I do want to also just throw out into the ether as far as new hardware. Valve hasn't said anything about this, but I think eventually Valve is going to put out another Steam controller.
Oh yeah, I've heard rumors about that.
Yeah.
The new Steam controller.
So I don't know if that would be a this year thing.
I know there are people who loved the Steam controller, but to me it looked weird, and I was like, I don't. That looks so strange to me. It just seems so foreign.
I would really like to just try it. I would really
I
love
would like to
just see what
try
it's
it,
like.
yeah, but I don't know that I want to buy one.
I would love to see what it's like. If they put out a new one, I will buy it.
Of course you will.
Yeah, I will buy it.
All right. So, speaking of, kind of things in the realm of Valve and stuff like that, I started thinking about Steam Link when I was thinking of the Steam controller, which made me think of cloud gaming. And I know Steam Link is not cloud gaming, but it just is adjacent.
Yeah.
So cloud gaming, do you think cloud gaming is going to do anything this year, or is it pretty much going to remain like this year? We saw cloud in 2022, I should say, this past year, we saw cloud gaming kind of drop off because we had like Stadia close, and like, that was a big thing. So, but will cloud gaming come back? What do you think about 2023 in cloud gaming?
I don't have a lot of opinions about it. I don't. If Xbox isn't going to put out their little stick, I haven't heard anything from. I kind of don't think it will.
I mean, will we see more Switch games, cloud versions?
Well, probably.
Probably.
But I don't think that necessarily helps the cloud gaming niche.
That's just trying to get people to be able to play games, and they only have a Switch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people only have a Switch.
Mm-hmm. And I've heard that a lot of those cloud gaming Switch games don't work great.
Oh yeah, I've heard they're awful. I mean, I'm sure there are some that are okay, but everything I've seen about them, it seems that they're awful.
So I don't know. Maybe internet's just not quite there yet. Because you're always fighting so many battles with cloud gaming, and maybe we're just not quite there.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so the big thing in 2023 is definitely going to be the games that are coming this year. Anticipated games, like some big ones. Like, to me, the biggest one is Tears of the Kingdom.
Duh. Of course.
I'm unbelievably pumped about this. I'm thinking that this might be one of the most highly anticipated games of all time. It just has to be.
Oh yeah, gotta be.
It's huge.
And you were talking about, when we were talking about Game Awards, you said that you thought Hogwarts Legacy might take most anticipated over Tears of the Kingdom. The
reason I said that, if you remember, is because Tears of the Kingdom was on there last year.
Yeah.
And I was saying, like, I just don't think it's fair for it to be on there multiple years in a row. Like Starfield and Tears of the Kingdom, I was like, those, it's just like, they're super, super hyped, but they've been there. They've been hyped. Where I feel like Hogwarts Legacy is the new hyped thing.
I think Tears of the Kingdom, I'm going to make a prediction right now. Tears of the Kingdom is going to pull an Elden Ring. They're going to win most anticipated game. Not twice, though. And then they're going to win Game of the Year.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Other big games this year, obviously we said Hogwarts Legacy just a second ago, and that's a game that I'm excited to play.
I'm getting more hyped about that every time I think about it.
Dude,
it looks so good.
I know. I'm really worried, though, because it's coming to Switch, too, and that makes me scared. I'm not going to play it on Switch.
I'm not playing it on Switch. And that version got delayed anyway.
Yeah, it did.
It may never happen, man. It may be
the only ones that are set to release on the time is the newest gen versions, like the PlayStation 5 and Series X versions. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's coming to PC as well.
Yeah,
is it coming? I thought that the PC version got delayed. I thought it was only the console versions.
PC version releases in February, I'm pretty sure.
Are you sure? Okay. You might be right about that. We're going to find out.
Yeah,
I thought for some reason that the Switch, that the PC version got delayed and it was just the new consoles. But maybe I'm completely wrong.
No, it's coming out on Windows.
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. So, Hogwarts Legacy. And then another big one for me, a really big one, is the Resident Evil 4 remake. Yeah. I am so incredibly pumped for this game.
Yeah, and I've never played Resident Evil 4, so I think that might be a good place to try it.
Oh, yeah. I think that in terms of old Resident Evil games, Resident Evil 4 holds up better than any of them.
Mm-hmm.
It holds up better than 5 for sure, and I haven't played 6 yet, but I'm assuming it holds up better than that one because those are just some weird. But Resident Evil 4 is a great game. I think the remake, if it is in line with the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, it's going to be great. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
We just jumped over Starfield.
Oh, gosh.
And I am excited about Starfield, although with a healthy dose of hesitancy.
Me too.
Because I don't trust Bethesda as far as I can throw them, and they're a big company, and I can't throw them very far.
Right.
But when I was a young man, and I was,
You're still a young man, Daniel.
When I was a younger man, and I was getting into like Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Eventually, I played all those games. Well, I played Oblivion, I played Skyrim, I played Fallout 3, I played New Vegas, and I played Fallout 4 later. And then eventually I played a game called Mass Effect. And Mass Effect is different than Bethesda-style RPGs, but it's in space, it's got a really cool setting, and it is very, like, RPG-esque. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying, I wish I had a Bethesda game in space, like a Bethesda Mass Effect. Mm-hmm. This could be it.
This could be it. I mean, yeah. I mean,
this could be it.
It's just so many people have lost faith in Bethesda and what they're able to put out. It's not that they don't put out some good stuff, because I mean, we have like Doom Eternal, seemed to be pretty good. People seem to like that one a lot. But in terms of their big like RPG stuff, I mean,
nothing since Skyrim's the big one,
right? Yeah.
I mean, Fallout 76 was a crap fest.
Right.
But they've already said that there's going to be none of that like online multiplayer stuff in Starfield. This
is
a single player RPG.
They learned their lesson.
Yeah. So what I expect from Starfield is that it's going to release buggy and eventually be fixed and be good.
That's like people don't remember how buggy Skyrim was at launch.
Oh, I remember.
Like that game. Well, I mean, like if you go back, I guess like Skyrim was extremely buggy.
And I didn't even care.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people did.
I just played right through it, didn't give a crap. But now I can't do that. I can't overlook the crap anymore.
So, final thoughts on 2023. Let's wrap this puppy up. Mm-hmm. Do you think gaming will be better in 2023 than it was in 2022? Head scratcher, I know.
I think it certainly could be. We ain't going to have no Ragnarok. We ain't going to have no Elden Ring. But we are going to have Zelda. And we are going to get this Hogwarts game that looks amazing. If Starfield can deliver and Resident Evil 4, I'm sure it'll be good. I mean, it could be. It could be.
New Final Fantasy?
New Final Fantasy, that's true.
I mean, I think I'm going to try that one. I'm not super hyped about it, but I mean, I'm going to try it.
Mm-hmm. So I think it has the potential to be.
I do too. I think we're
just got to stick the landing.
I think that we might be getting over the post-pandemic hump in 2023, which I think will be good for gaming in general. I think that it will be better. I'm kind of on the fence of whether we're, in terms of hardware, going to see anything that's cool in 2023. I kind of think not, but who knows? Surprise me. I'd be happy to be surprised with that.
Well, what they really need to do, if they really want to make 2023 the best year in gaming ever, is release another wave of DLC for Smash.
That's not going to happen.
If they just do that, then it's the year.
It's not going to happen.
You want to get me away from my Steam Deck for a little while? Give me some new Smash characters.
That's definitely not happening.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But we want you guys to let us know in the comments, if you're watching this on YouTube, let us know what you think. Do you think that 2023 is going to be a good year for gaming? Also, just let us know how your 2022 was.
Yeah. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
All right. So, games of the week, Daniel. What games have you been playing? I know you've been playing Steam Deck. You've been playing it hard. Like I said earlier, this is the first time that your list has equaled my list, and I think ever.
That's true. And now I'm in various places with all these games. Yep. I'm jumping around a lot, but it's been fun, and I am making progress in all of them. So, Nier Automata, like I said, I rolled credits, but it's not over.
Right.
There's more to it. So I'm going back to that. It's just not my number one priority anymore. Right. Because a new game has become my number one priority, and that's The Witcher 3. I have never played The Witcher. It's been out, 7 years?
It came out in, 2013? No,
I think it's 2015.
15.
Yeah. So I'm playing The Witcher for the first time ever. It came out, right after I was getting, open world RPG fatigue. I think that's why I just couldn't do it. So I'm giving that one a shot, and
it's such a good game, man.
I'm really, really, really early in it, but I think I'm in the right place to finally play it.
It's so good. You're going to love it.
I think I am going to love it. On the other end of the spectrum, I'm playing a little game called Power Wash Simulator. That game is hilarious because it's exactly what it sounds like. You run a power washing company and you clean dirty crap. It's very cathartic and relaxing and mindless, and it's great to play while you're watching YouTube. I'm also playing an indie game called Void Bastards. Now, this game, I've heard about it for a while because it was part of the Humble collection from Humble Bundle, but I'm not a member of Humble Bundle anymore. I canceled that a while back, so I never got to play it, but I'm playing it now. It's cool. It's like a comic. Yeah, the graphics are like a comic book, like it's all drawn and such. You play as these like inmates who are being like used by some company to like board these vessels and get resources off of them, and you get killed pretty often, and then they just pull a new inmate. It's like a little cynical in that way. But Void Bastards has been fun. Neon White slaps so hard. I'm about halfway through that game.
That one looks really good to me.
It is so good.
It looks super fun. It's got the whole like first-person platforming thing going on, which is pretty rare. You don't see that much.
It's like a first-person platformer shooter.
Yeah.
But it's not like you're taking cover and returning fire to enemies. It's all about speed running.
Yeah,
the whole game is about speed running. It looks
super fluid.
It is very fluid. The movement's great. And then there's like another half to the game that's like a visual novel. So it's like when you complete enough missions, you get a lot of this like visual novel piece, and that kind of unwraps the story. But it is great. I see why people liked it. You should totally play Neon White. And just a little game called Vampire Survivors that I just can't put down.
Yeah, you've been playing a lot of games this week.
I have.
A lot of games. So in terms of what I've been doing, I got a number of games for Christmas from some family members, which was awesome. The one that I started playing was Nier Replicant, and which is awesome. So if you don't know what Nier Replicant is, Nier Replicant was the first Nier game. Well, actually, the very first Nier game was originally in Japan, and it had two versions, one called Nier Replicant and one called Nier Gestalt. And Nier Replicant was on PlayStation, and it featured the protagonist was a young man, and then Nier Gestalt was on Xbox, and the protagonist was an older male. So those were the two versions. And in the United States, we only got Nier Gestalt, but it was just called Nier. And that's what we got in the United States, that was the first Nier game. So, and then after that, many, many years later, we got Nier Automata, which was the sequel developed by a different developer, developed by Platinum. And then after Nier Automata did so well, they decided in 2021, Nier Replicant, it's called like version 1 point something, I don't know. But it's basically a remake of the original Nier Replicant game. And it's it like graphically puts it in line with Nier Automata, and it changes some gameplay to make it more in line with Nier Automata. And so it's kind of a weird thing. It's kind of like a new version, but it's also it's more of a remake more than anything. But it's essentially they kind of pitch it as a prequel to Nier Automata.
And I also want to point out that Nier Automata is getting an anime. I told you about this.
Yeah.
But it's coming out apparently January the 7th. So that's in
that's
like
very
6
soon.
days, yeah.
Yeah, that's very
I think it would be one of those things that it ain't going to be dubbed. You know, you'd have to watch it in subtitles. But if you watch any anime, that's par for the course.
This year, I've fallen in love with the Nier stuff. I'm really enjoying Nier Replicant, and Nier Automata was amazing. I will say Nier Replicant's not as good as Nier Automata, but it is very good.
Yeah. And
it's got a lot of similarities, but it's also very different. So it's cool and worth checking out. If you liked Automata and you want to go back and play Replicant, it's a newer game. The remaster is newer. It came out last year, or in 2021, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. I also played this week, I started and finished Katamari Damacy Reroll, and that is another remaster sort of thing. And it originally was a game on the PS2, and they remastered it, and I played it on Switch. I don't know if it's available on anything else, but I played it on Switch. It was fun. It's one, the game where you roll up stuff, and you grow, and you can gradually roll up larger and larger objects, and it's level based, and generally there's some variety, but generally what you do is you have a time limit, and you've got to get your the thing that you're rolling up to a certain size within a time limit. That's the way they aim. So it's very repetitive, but relaxing.
Yeah.
That being said, it wasn't exactly my cup of tea. I did see it all the way through and finish it.
It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. It was okay. It was good, not great. It was okay. Also, Catherine and I are still playing Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not loving it.
Yeah, I wasn't loving it either.
It's just the game. I think it's trying to cover 9 films worth of content in a game that isn't overly bloated.
Well, 6 films and 3 crap shoots, but okay.
Yeah, so it goes so fast, and I think it's really best for people who know those movies like the back of their hand and they know them by heart. And then I think that for those, if you're that type of person, I think you could enjoy it because the story is so fast paced and they skip so much stuff.
Yeah.
And like we're working through the prequel. We're almost done. We're on the last prequel one right now, and I have only seen the prequels one time. And it was back when they released. It was like 20 years ago. So it's just been so long since I've seen those movies that I don't remember anything about them.
Well, as the exact person that you just referenced, because I could probably sit here and quote you Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
Damn near word for word. I just don't love the Lego thing.
Yeah, I don't think
That's all it is for me. Like the stories and the way they like insert little jokes in it is cool and it is funny.
Yeah,
and like,
I think it's probably, and like if you're like the person who really really knows those things, I think they probably you probably think it's really funny.
Yeah, but I just don't love the gameplay. Honestly, it's just too simplistic and there's just not much to it for me. And it's.
I mean, this one's more varied than some of the other Lego games I've played, but
definitely,
and it's cool, but the game looks good. It really does. Look great.
It looks great.
It's a good looking game, but it's just not. I'm not sure I'm a huge fan of them. They're very relaxing, but I keep falling asleep when I play them. Like every single night we're playing these, I'm falling asleep playing it. So that just says it's not. I don't know. It's just not my thing.
I love that they have like so many characters in that game, and they have like DLC from The Mandalorian and Andor and like all the other shows. That's super cool. Ahsoka. I mean, and so you can like take those characters and like have little cute Lego interactions with characters they never actually met. Mm-hmm. And that's cute. But you can also like watch a compilation of that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I've done it.
Obviously.
And,
yeah, I mean, like,
beyond that, it's just, I don't think it's for me.
I don't know. We're going to finish it. We're going to see it through. We're going to play it through because that's our style.
You're going to play those sequels?
We're going to play it all the way. We're going to finish it. We're going to finish the game.
I'm sorry.
It's not that, like, each one is really not that long. It's not that long of a game, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. And it is something to play, but it's just, I don't know, it's just not exactly what I would like. I finished playing Pokemon Violet this week, and I had so much fun with it. But the game is so janky and looks bad. I'm not going to harp on this, But
boo, Pokemon Company.
It's a fun game. It just sucks the state that it was put out in. It's disappointing.
You suck, Game Freak.
It's really disappointing. Like I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I finished Super Mario Land yesterday, and that was fun. You got to do that in a complete run. It's pretty challenging. I went into the 4th world with like 20 lives and one continue, which is an additional 2 lives, and I finished it on my last life.
Are there bosses in that game?
Yeah, there are boss fights at the end of each world. There's 4 worlds, so yeah, there's bosses. The final boss actually wasn't as the final boss has 2 phases, and the last phase was actually a little easier than I expected it to be, but still it was I don't know. I also abandoned Gotham Knights this week because I just didn't want to play it. I have other things I want to play, so I just sent it back to GameFly.
Yeah.
Said goodbye.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this is as good a time as any to go ahead and tell the viewers. So it's a new year. Our contract with Ghost Rider for PlayStation 2 is up. So this week we're actually sponsorless, but we're looking for new games, that are willing to sponsor us and take on the expansive expenses that the Gaming Gig podcast incurs. Mm-hmm. So
this is not a cheap show to put together.
No.
We can't do it without a sponsor.
Can't do it. We barely pulled it off this week. We're eating nothing but ramen and saltine crackers. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs here. But if you've got any ideas for a great game that could sponsor us, we're looking for that perfect obscure title.
Yes. And if you made it to the end of this podcast, we like to shout out the people who make it to the end. And we do that through our 3 for Dale Club. So if you make it all the way to the end of the podcast, drop a comment. Somewhere in your comment, just say 3 for Dale, or just leave a comment that says 3 for Dale. That's our secret code word that lets us know that you made it all the way to the end of the podcast. And we just want to acknowledge you, say thank you for making it. Last week, our 3 for Dale Club was Landon Stallings again. Landon.
The man, the myth, the legend.
I don't even know what to say at this point.
We have no words.
Like every night when we're eating dinner, we say a little blessing. I include you every time.
Heck yeah. I mean, you're either like super cool or a glutton for punishment. I don't know which one. You might be a cool glutton for punishment. I don't know. But we're thankful for you, Landon.
But like I said, if you want to be shouted out at the end of the next podcast, just drop a 3 for Dale and we'll do it. So, all right, guys. Until next time, I'm Randy.
And that makes me Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.